Hello, greetings. Good to see you there. The PS1 Addict, Stock for Widow, Refraction PCSX2, and 3D Code Warrior. Welcome in. Thanks for joining me today. I think it's time to just get back into it. More art today. Man, this game is finally looking like it's coming together. I'm excited about seeing, you know, more backgrounds and stuff like that. Oh, you're very welcome, PS1 Addict. Thanks for thanking for the welcome. Actually, I just realized I gotta grab my drawing tablet. It's behind me. 1 second. I'll start the stream properly. Let's get on screen here. Yes, we're gonna be doing more art today. I put the screen back in its box yesterday for some reason. I don't know why I did that. I totally forgot to grab it out. Here we go. I really like having this thing. It's very very nice, very convenient thing to work with. Not sponsored, unfortunately. You know, if Huey want to sponsor me, you know, I'll take a nice sponsorship. Hey, Cybersec Frosty, good to see you. Hello, hello. Welcome in, welcome in. How's it going today, Cyber? All right. Hey, Ref, how's things going with you, man? I know you've been trying to do some more game dev stuff lately. How's that going? I really should put a screen protector on this thing. Need to give it a proper clean. All right. Doing alright, thanks, man. Not really done anything since Brecky's tutorial yet. Okay. Good, thanks. Bot Dig. Looking forward to playing it. Oh my gosh, awesome. I really like that game. Like, it may have flaws like many games from that period, but it holds a special place for me. So yeah, I hope you have a lot of fun playing it. Just kind of gaming and chilling. That's not bad. It's a good thing, man. It's good to just sit back and relax sometimes. I gotta give myself permission to do that more often, I think, because like I'd find myself getting stressed out and annoyed that I'm not doing more. But that's just me. I mean, I'm sure I'm not the only person who's like that, but yeah, if I take too long away from doing anything productive, I just start to feel like, what am I doing? So I gotta actually, like, when I want to do something to relax and not be working. Hang on, let me turn the music down. It's way too loud. When I tell myself like, oh, it's time to relax, I got to do something that's not like focused on productivity, I still have to do something. Like I'll, you know, plan to go on a hike, or, you know, get some job done around the house or something like that. So I find it very hard to just stop. It's something that I know I need to work on, because it's good to stop and recharge. And like, you know, it's something I guess I miss out on a fair bit, because like, if I do have time off, like in the last five years or so, anytime I've had time off of work, I'll be like, okay, time to work on my other projects, like game dev related or something else. So yeah. It might not be the healthiest attitude, but it is what it is. So you're going at it solid for nearly 19 years. Yeah, you have. Stepping back for a bit, give your brain the ability to relax a little. That's so good. I'm glad you're doing it. Trying to make yourself tired to go to sleep? Well, you're in the right place, because I'm going to be really boring and just start drawing pictures again. I think I might want to just do a little bit of a review, actually, where we're at and where we want to go, and maybe flag a few things for if we want to make some changes and stuff like that before I move on. I think that's a healthy approach to this content. So I'll open up the bedroom, and I'll open up the other two as well. I kind of wish the open screen was always that view. We open up the backyard one, and we open up... Hello? Okay, it's just taking a little while there. We open up the lounge. That's what I called it, lounge. Couldn't remember. So yeah, I got these 3 different scenes at the moment. I would say, looking at the results of this compared to this, one thing that's immediately calling out to me is the shadows look better with the blurred edge like they do here than they do with the sharp edge like they are here. And I think that would elevate this a lot, just doing that one small change. Is blurring the edges around this, on the shadows on this image. Results? I demand results. Okay, not really. Hi, Mike. Hi, Toasty. Good to see you. Oh, you can't see it. Thank you. I forgot to press this button. There you go. So I've got the 3 images open. I got backyard. I got the one we just worked on, the chores. And we've got the background for the bedroom. So looking at bedroom, comparing these, like, I wish there was a way to do markup without having to create a whole layer. But yeah, looking at like the shadow lines like this, and you know, here and wherever else they are, they're all over the room. There's these shadow lines, and they're all very sharp looking, right? In here, and that's not necessarily problematic, but I think when I compare it to this, where the shadows are all like much softer, like here, all these softer shadows, they look way better. And when it becomes pixel arted, I don't know how to say the words. When you look at it in pixel form, when you compress it down, they look better that way too. Where's my mouse cursor gone? I hate this. Hello? Oh, it's all the way over there. All right. Yeah, let me bring this over. So yeah, if you look at this one, for example, oh my gosh, it's opened up over there. Okay, fine. Yeah, look at this one, for example. So you can see like this gradient on the edges of the shadows. That's what that blur effect does. And it looks so much nicer. It looks so much nicer, I think, compared with this one. Which looks great, don't get me wrong, this looks great, but those shadows are still very hard looking, and I think the blurring and the blending of the shadows really adds a lot. And it's something that I noticed in the I've noticed in the pixel art for Day of the Tentacle as well, in the background art for that game. They tended to have like a bit of a blurred edge between the light and the dark on the penumbra there, and I think it was a good choice. I think it looks good. These came along nicely in a few days. Thank you, Toasty. Thank you. Foreground seems to be different black. Yeah, they are. They're different. This one's like actually black, I think. And this one is like a purple. I don't know if it's a bad thing or not, honestly. It might be a bad thing. I'm not sure. I will say I'm not against the purple foreground, but I think consistent foreground colors might be a little bit better. Yeah. Have it mean something? Yeah, you prefer the black? I getcha. I think what I was thinking when I did it in this room is like, oh, the walls in the room are purple. And I just thought it would be nice to have that like concept where it's like sandwiching like the space. So you've got like the foreground in the purple and the furthest wall in purple. So you're like sandwiching the green and the other bits and pieces in between, other colors in between. I don't think it's a bad thing. But yeah, probably I would go for the black anyway. But like I said, it's not, these aren't completed. What I did do on this one is I did go through and like tidy up the pixel art on the chores chart, for example, a little bit. I didn't really do too many edge fixes, so there's some highlighting along this edge that looks like a little bit off, in my opinion, on the pixel art there. But I don't know if that really, it's maybe a bit easier to see if you zoom in. You can see some like higher, brighter pixels on some of the edges on the chair, for example, that I feel like maybe don't belong. But it's not too bad, honestly. It's not too bad. It's way better. Like previously I had done that and it was like not great. So yeah, one thing that I've been saying I would do for every single game since Day of the Sandwich was take all of the backgrounds, put them all in one image, and then downsample the colors to 256 colors, and then go through and touch up all the pixel art from there with because then I've got a defined palette and I can maybe tweak some of the colors a little bit. But like having a defined palette with all of the backgrounds and all the character art in there would be obviously nice to have. I haven't done that yet, so I'm planning to do that with this game. I'm actually planning to hold myself to it and like I'm being a little bit less firm on the release date on this one now because I want to just get the game done nicely. I don't want to allow myself scope creep, but like doing all the stuff that I said I would like to do. So adding some character dialogue and mouth movement for talking and animation of the character as they like talk, stuff like that, just little features that like add value. I want to just do those little details. Blinking, you know, idle animations might be cool to add as well. Maybe I'll think about doing that. But yeah, I want to still want limiting the scope because I don't want to scope creep out and make a massive game, but just giving me all of the opportunity to do the things I said I wanted to do and haven't achieved in the last couple of games. So anyway, that's where we're at right now. So that's one of the things that I want to address is like the shadows make sure that we're consistent in that style and usage of the shadows. That could also extend to this. This one just in general needs some lighting and some shadows, and I don't really know how to deal with it. I'm thinking it might just be worth... It might just be worth saying like, hey, there's just a shadow here for no reason. Like everything in that zone is going to be in more shadow, so like we have this come up here, and maybe the shadow cuts across this a little bit, something like that. So we just fill all that side with shadow. Where's my eraser tool? All right, it's up here. If that makes some sense, hopefully. It needs a heart in the R in the word chores. Ah. Hang on, let me go back and look at that, because I like that idea, actually. Turning this to a heart. This part right here, making this a heart. Somehow. I think maybe we could do that. It's a good idea. It makes it a little bit more like, a little less business-like and a little bit more family-oriented. I like it. Chores with a heart somewhere in there. Another thing I could do is like the gold star thing. We could have like a gold star next to this. Maybe something like that, I don't know. Don't forget the live laugh lasagna sign. Right, yeah, we gotta add something like that in. That would be pretty fun. Just thinking about adding some more lighting. Some, like, it doesn't have to be fully justified lighting, but just like somehow having shadows in this zone would make it feel a little bit nicer looking, I feel. Now, they don't all have to make sense, kind of thing. They just have to be there. I think it just will help somewhat. So if I try and put in like shadows around these zones, it might help a lot. I don't know. I don't know. It'd be cool to have shadows that don't interact with each other, so you don't get, like, if I could do them on different layers and just draw anywhere and it's just always like, oh yeah, that's the shadow zone, and it never adds those two layers together. That would be really good. But I don't know if that's an option in this. I don't know if there's a way to say that. But that way you don't have, like, say, you know, when you've got two shadows, like if I do it, if I add a couple of layers here, and like, okay, set both of their opacities to like 38%, set them to multiply, and I draw in this one. Oh, I guess that doesn't, it only applied to one of them. Okay. So then on this one, I'm like, okay, here's a shadow, and that's great. And I'm like, okay, there's also like a shadow for some reason here, and I have that overlap in the middle. Like, ideally, I wish I could draw these two shadows and not have that middle part blend. I don't know if that's an option. If I make their opacity 100, I wonder if there's a blend mode that does it. Like, overlay is not quite right. But if I set them both to overlay, yeah, it still has that blend in the middle. Saturation has that effect, but it's yeah, it's not shadow. That's not shadowing so much. And I think when you put the opacity down, you do see the blend between them. There's a question for the world. I don't know. What's screen look like? Nothing. Screen tends to lighten stuff, I guess. Darken? Oops, that was divide. Darken, maybe? I make them both darken filters. Yeah, they still have that overlap. If I set it to darken at full opacity, but have like gray be the color instead of black. Does that change things? Okay. Maybe that'll work. I think I'll still have the overlap problem if I have the opacity. Yeah, the opacity situation causes it. But yeah, if I do this... The problem is it's not really exactly a shadow color now. But you don't see the overlap. I'm not sure. I don't think this is going to work either. What about multiply? No, they overlap. Just a technical question, I guess. I'm just trying to work my way through that, but it looks like it's not going to work. That's fine. But yeah, I think adding lighting intentionally, like going through and working on that lighting, will probably help a lot. The awning will also help a lot. I think this scene also just needs some stuff in the foreground to help detract a little bit from the overall shape of the scene. Maybe if I put a foreground in, it would help too. You know, just like some silhouettes or whatever. We can't do too much in the foreground because there's so much elements that happen in the foreground here. But, you know, maybe a few things could be in the foreground. Stuff like that. Little things. I don't want to probably go there because that's going to block off the traversal zone. But maybe a couple of these little things. Yeah, I don't like that. I'll come back to the foreground. We'll come up with something for the foreground. Might be able to just do some kind of simple tree or something like that on the left. Something that, you know, mimics the tree in the background without getting in front of it too much like that one does, but... I don't know if that's bad or not. Maybe it's okay. Some kind of foreground element there might help. For now, I'm just going to not bother with the foreground. But it might be nice to add something. Anyway, that's just some ideas. I'm not necessarily going to do all the work now to get all those details in. Just wanted to look at it. For this scene, I think I'm not so much worried about the light. I think the light's pretty good. Maybe need a little bit of work here and there, but it's pretty decent. What this scene needs is a little bit of markup just to like where we want to add some more details. So maybe some kind of object on here, like water or candy, something like that. Maybe a little pot plant here, something, a little bit of interest, visual interest there. Maybe a trash can here. I think we were saying before, I think I already said before, like I wanted to have like a knife block or something on here and some other elements. It doesn't have to be like obvious like what they are, but some stuff over there. I'm pretty sure I mentioned I wanted to put some cabinets in as well at some point, so something like that. Probably want a couple more bits and pieces on this thing too, even though there's only one actual thing we want to be able to pull down from there. It might be just good to have a couple more items up there that you can see. Maybe we could do a plant here. You know, a pot plant here would be maybe better than some of the other places I've drawn them. You know, with maybe some bigger broadleaf sort of plant or something like that. Little flower here, maybe. Little details like that. Break up the planes of where the player can walk a little bit. Maybe something poking out from the side here, like a shelf or something like that. Maybe something like interesting here, like a shelf, but it's like made of like lots of little shelves that sort of go up here, so we can have some items on the shelf. That would be like interesting to look at in some way. It's like, you know, little figurines and stuff. Whatever. Little elements like that would be interesting. Something poking out there. I think also just some grime and stuff on the floor would be interesting. Something here maybe. I think some pictures on the wall poking out here would be good too. Whoops. Big thick line there. Yeah, some pictures on the wall. Typical, like lots of little portraits or something. These are some interesting ideas to work on for future. This one's pretty good. Like I said, I want to deal with just applying the blur effect to the shadows. I think the floor's too clean, too clear. There are a few elements that will be in here that we already know about. I think there's going to be some stuff in the foreground on here, but might just like want to amplify that a little bit more. Put a few more bits in on here. Stuff. Referencey type things, because in the foreground we could have like you know, a Star Wars collector card or something interesting like that. I don't know. Probably something on here. Some kind of object would be interesting. More stuff on this, so some papers maybe, some papers and documents, something like that. Crumpled up paper here, maybe a little, oh, I think we've got something that's going to be in there, like the little robot's going to be in that area, so maybe we've got to be careful about what we put there, but something leaning up against this would be interesting. Maybe like I don't know, an object. I don't know what kind of object. I think we already have like a hockey stick we want to put in here, and a little robot over here, so we have to like be mindful of those things. I've got a plush toy on the bed, a squeaky toy. It could be good to have like some kind of sign up here that says something funny or silly, like something 90s-ish, like, you know, only I don't know. I'm trying to think of something. Yeah, gamers rule or something like that. I don't know. Gamers wasn't really a term back then. Something interesting anyway. There's a few ideas we've marked up, which is nice. Nice to have these marked up ideas. This room probably needs a lot of that sort of stuff too, honestly. What? Did I just add 2 layers at once somehow? So yeah, on this one, I'd probably say I'll just use blue because I already used red for the shadows. We want to just have some items on here that are maybe a little bit more interesting. Some objects sort of piled up in the corners here, you know, a pile of things here. That will help break up the background a little bit as well. This could, you know, we could have bits poking through the gap. Maybe like an antenna here would be cool, like some kind of antenna. I think I had said that I wanted to block this path off a few times, so maybe we just put in something to block off this path here, like a little little dog kennel maybe. And some other bits and pieces just to fill that space. We don't have a dog, but you know, whatever. Something like that. Just like, I don't want them to be too detailed, just objects that are sort of there, that exist. Maybe some plants in the backyard would be interesting too. We don't have really any plants, it's all just grass. So maybe a pot plant right here could be interesting. Some kind of like little fern or palm tree maybe. Something like that. I think that this yard probably needs the least junk in it because it's got a lot of elements already, so you want to like keep it free of information to be less confusing. But like a faucet here would probably be ideal. We need a faucet. We need that hose as well. And the sprinkler will be here. There's like a lot of elements we need to add still. I don't remember what sprinklers look like, so I'm just going to draw some random crap here connected to the hose. Obviously the llama is going to be here, so we don't want to fill that space. It's probably fine. I think one of the things I just realized while I was thinking about all this is that the walkable area, like we don't really want the player coming too close to the screen, so kind of like eliminating all of this space for walkable area for the player for the most part. Like they can walk there, but you know, we probably want to eliminate it as much as we can. Anyway, maybe we can draw a few foreground objects, small-ish, unobtrusive-ish foreground objects along the front once we fill in a bit more details. All right, I'm going to save these as is, just with these markups in them, and we'll come back to them. This is such a big document right now. This particular background is huge. All right, we want to create a new one with some of the same elements that you can see here. It's not a scrolling screen, but it is the backyard. And it has to hint at a few things. And I think I want to take a different perspective on that as well, just to get away from like this flatter view. This should be interesting. I just got to think about that. maybe sketch up some ideas now. Maybe we should just jump in and try and do that. So we go ahead and create a new one. What I want to do is I want to block off the foreground with the back of the shed. So maybe the shed is like here, and that can be sort of our foreground blocker, and hopefully the player will be like, oh, that's the shed, we just walked past it, and now we're looking into some other part of the backyard. And what we need in here is fence line? Maybe that. Oh, I'm erasing on the actual background here. Let me just go and create a new layer. Let me just undo everything. Let's just start again. Yeah. All right. A couple of like slightly visually interesting things in the foreground, but nothing too much. Obviously we want the tiles to be interesting too, so we'll draw those in a little bit more detail as well, but it's the foreground, we don't want it to take too much away from everything else in the scene. Oh, hey there, Dragon Facts. How are you today? Oh, my captain. All right, and then we're gonna have, like I said, we're gonna have a fence coming off in the background here somehow. Something like that. We have to be able to climb over the fence. And we want a tree. I don't know how the tree is gonna look, but I'm imagining this is the roots of the tree here. It's going to be like kind of a broader tree, maybe a little bit more Sam and Max detail level of the tree compared to the other stuff we've seen. And there's going to be a tree house in the tree. With like, you know, rickety looking bars and stuff on it. We might need to change the scale of this a little bit, but this is like just a sketch. In the treehouse, there's a thing that we want, and there'll be some nails in the tree, or some nail holes, but all of the steps except for one are going to be either broken or missing, I think. It'll be like the top one. Something like that. And you're gonna have your sibling is gonna be here too, and they're just gonna be saying like, no, you can't climb the fence. I might need to lower the height of the fence. It seems a little tall. But yeah, something like this is not a bad idea for the layout. I can do this a lot easier than I could do the other layout, because the other layout was like obviously very confusing when I was trying to squeeze everything together into one scene. But this will be a lot easier to maintain, I think. So a lot easier to think about. So we have a few elements like that. I'm not sure what I'm doing today. I'll be honest. I came here to just try and do some basic drawing stuff, and I just I'm having one of those days. I'm pretty tired. I was up too late last night, finishing off the Crimson Diamond, which was great, by the way. Had a good time playing that. But yeah, it might make for a less productive Saturday, which is fine. Maybe we could switch gears and do something a little bit boring. Maybe we could do something a little less creative today. I don't know. We'll see how I go. I keep on sketching this background until I come up with something I like. I'm not 100% sold on this. I think it's like maybe... For some reason, it feels like I'm trying to cramp too much into the scene, which doesn't make sense. There's only 2 things in the scene. Yeah, maybe I need to look at some inspiration images. Just get some sense of scale. Maybe my sense of scale's way off. Like, that fence is like way too big as well, by the way. Way too big. Let's see here. Maybe this will help. This is the scaled. Insert a new layer. He's standing on the roof. Yeah, that helps with the sense of scale a lot. Moving him around a bit. So he's going to want to climb this. This tree's about the right size, which is kind of annoying because I wanted to draw more of the treehouse, but I guess this is not a bad thing. We want him to have to climb from here up to here. And he won't be able to do it until he fixes the treehouse. His sibling's about the right height, I would say. The fence is maybe a little tall, but not too bad. Yeah, okay. This is probably not a bad look for the scene. Alright. How long have we been live for? Nearly an hour? I don't know how long to give it today. Like, I don't want to overdo it. So maybe we'll do another hour. It's 3:15. Maybe I'll do up to 4 o'clock. We'll do another 45 minutes. See how I feel then. I don't want to overdo it. Like I said, I'm trying to be conscious of my state of my focus and my mind, my body, trying to be a bit more careful about how I use my time. Yeah, I don't want to overdo it. Basically, I might close some of these items in the background just because I think they're taking up some memory and it's slowing down the app somehow. All right, probably would have been good to leave the backyard one open actually, so I could refer to some colors if I wanted to. I don't know if we'll get that far yet. I'm just trying to sketch the layout. I don't think this layout quite works for me. I think the fence line is in the wrong direction. But maybe I can just lift some elements out of here. Maybe if I just save the tree and erase all the other lines for now. Oh, I'm on the wrong layer. Get rid of all the other lines except for the tree. Man, I wonder how Julia's doing today. I've seen her in a few chats. I've been in a few chats myself, trying to support my friends while they're playing some cool games like the Crimson Diamond. And Julia just released her game, the Crimson Diamond, and I couldn't be prouder. Like, she's done so much work. It's kind of shocking, the amount of work. I mean, it's been years of development too. Like, that's the other thing. Like, so much life went into that game. When you think about it, it's sort of like, wow. Quite an achievement, obviously, being basically a solo dev project. Doing the programming, doing the art and design, all of that. Characters, the writing, so much writing in the game. I was shocked by the amount of writing in Crimson Diamond. I knew there was a lot of words, but like when I finally finished it, I was like, that was a lot of words. Like most games I play, I don't have like a sore voice after the end of playing those games, but man, that one I was just like, oh wow. Like my voice was actually starting to really take a beating from it. And I was like, this is a lot of dialogue. But it's a great experience. Like as a player, I had such a good time with it. Yeah, Julia really outdid herself on it. It was such a good experience. Like she did such a good job. Really fantastic work. And I think like she should be super proud of it, but I couldn't be prouder as well. Like I was actually genuinely proud for the moment when I saw it on Steam and it was out and people were able to buy it and stuff. I was like, wow. Like I just, yeah, I don't know. I know I'm not supposed to be the one who's proud of the effort, but I really was. I thought she did an amazing job. And I look forward to seeing what she does next now too. You weren't expecting me to play for 12 hours. I basically sat down. I wasn't sure what I was going to do. I was like, hey, I'm going to play a little bit of the Crimson Diamond and see where we go from here. And I was thinking I'd probably play it for like maybe, you know, 3 or 4 hours, and then I'd switch over to Arena for a bit. And I just kept playing because I was like, you know what? This is like really compelling and I kind of want to see like how this goes. And by the time I got to a certain point, I was like, oh, I'm basically in it for the long haul now. I'm just going to finish this game. Like at some point I realized like, oh, I'm going to finish this today. And so I just kept going with it. Yeah, 12 hours. I think my Steam, on my Steam library, the playtime for the game is like 12 hours. So yeah, there was some point of no return. I don't know exactly when I crossed that point. Probably around like hour 9 or so. I was like, I should probably just finish it. It was such a good time. She really should be so proud of the effort. One of the things I know is going to be interesting for her to deal with is like, she doesn't have the game to work on as such anymore. Like the game is done. And at some point, like the support tasks that she wants to do, bug fixes and stuff, that will start to get less and less, like, and she'll stop working and she'll be like, wait a second, what am I doing? Like, that will probably happen. Like, she'll be just like, on a small scale, I've already experienced that kind of feeling, like, oh, I've finished, now what? That kind of thing happens. And I know, like, from other people I've talked to, and from working on other kinds of projects, like commercial projects that I've, not games, but like projects that I've done that were big tasks like that. You get to the end of it, and sometimes it hits you in a way that you don't expect. So, I hope that she's gonna be comfortable with dealing with that. I mean, it might not happen. Maybe she'll just be focused on the next project so much she doesn't really have time to stop and think like that, but it can happen. You can have like some intrusive thoughts and stuff like that of like, you know, what am I doing? Maybe I should just drop everything and go away. But yeah, I don't know. What she needs to do is microtransactions, add silly hats and stuff. That would be pretty interesting. I think if she was up for it, a little fun project on the side to like take all of the assets she's used for that game and turn it into like a zombie survival game or something like that would be really funny. She might not want to do that, but like she's got all the assets there. Making a zombie survival in a mansion is like, it makes sense. There's so many mansion games with zombie survival elements like you could borrow ideas from, and it would totally work, you know. It would absolutely work in that EGA style. Yeah. You'd love to see it, right? Yeah, so I think this treehouse is not too bad. I don't know if it's a little too close to the background. Maybe I want to bring it forward just a little bit. Basically lower it on the screen, give myself a little space to work with along the top there. But yeah, this is not bad. Not a bad one. And I can move it across. Like, it doesn't need to be... Yeah, I can move it across here a little bit. It's still clear what it is. to me. Maybe to you it just looks like a bunch of mess, but to me, I can look at this and go, oh yeah, that's some kind of tree house, you know. Make this like a window section, and then maybe have the boards go off that way a little bit. Probably there needs to be like a doorway, so maybe like this part here could be a doorway. Have that be the doorway there to get into the treehouse proper, which we won't be doing. You won't actually go in the door, but it'll be something visually there to communicate that's what it's part of. There's a broken branch here. Maybe have some foliage like coming down here as well. I don't know. Some leaves. Terrible leaves. But yeah, okay. That would probably work. Maybe a branch coming up in the background that's like a bit darker, but you know, clearly a branch coming from the tree, just to show a little bit more support for that heavy frame of the house on the tree. Oh boy, we're having fun now! You never get a prim and proper lady as a survivalist. Yeah, that's right. It would be an interesting approach. I mean, yeah. Maybe I should just ask Julia to give me the assets, and I'll just make like a crappy zombie survival game out of all her assets. That was probably Damn It Baines, but I don't know because I don't have my chat up. I gotta go look at my chat. It's usually Damn It Baines with that sound effect. It was Damn It Baines. Hi, Damn It Baines. Yeah, I think maybe the tree wants to... Let's see here. What if we do a little bit of this action? Make the tree a little thicker around the base, like me. That will probably work nicely, I think. And then the next element we need to add is that fence, which I'll do on another layer. And I want to say it's just like pretty tightly, yeah, something like that maybe. I don't know if this framing is just right. I think maybe we want something else in the foreground as well at some point, but let's just try and throw in some spots of color just to see what this feels like with some color in it. I think there's going to be too much brown, is my immediate thought here. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Welcome to the Robot Spacer Space Raiders. The Robot Parade. Thank you so much for the raid. Welcome in, welcome in. We're just sketching up some background concepts here, just trying to get some ideas of some of the scenes we need to create for this little game I'm working on. What were you doing today, Mr. Spacer? Hello, fellow Mike. Yeah, good. It's going good. I'm having a good time with it. I was having a bit of a rough time, to be honest, like, with just some decision paralysis and some, like, confidence issues with, like, how things were looking. But I'm feeling really good about it today, actually. Hey, thank you very much for the new follow as well. I appreciate it. I have anonymous follows on the channel. Feel free to jump in the chat and say hi. Or you can lurk away. Either way, I do appreciate that support. You're a legend for doing it. Thank you. You're painting your game cover in acrylics now? Awesome. Have you, like... I know you've done a couple of cycles of that. How are you feeling about it now? You're getting... you're very confident with the current iteration? Yeah, what's going on with it? I'm very curious to know. The problem with this scene that you might notice is that I've got a brown wooden shed with brown wooden, what do you call the things that go on a roof? Thatching, I guess. And a brown wooden fence and a brown wooden tree. And I'm trying to think about how can I separate these colors and give the scene feel like it's got a little bit of depth to it with the color choices as well. It's very annoying. Hello there, Max. Hello, how are you? Did you finish Crimson Diamond? I didn't watch as I want to play eventually. Yeah, I finished the whole thing in one sitting. I sat down and went, I'm going to play a little bit of Crimson Diamond. I'll probably play some Arena later. And I just didn't stop playing. I played it for 12 hours straight, practically. Not quite, but about that. I took a few breaks in between, but I forgot to close the game, so Steam just recorded 12 hours of gameplay. So I'm not sure exactly how long. Probably about 10 hours, I guess, of gameplay. With, you know, a lot of talking and stuff like this in between as well. So I probably... Maybe it's like a 7 to 8 hour game, I don't know. But yeah, I played the entire thing. It was such a good time, I didn't want to stop doing it. Starting on the final painting now, still a bit unsure of yourself, but think you can accomplish what you want after in the end. That's so good. That's so cool. I'm really happy to hear that. I'm really happy to hear that. I can't wait to see the final product. How many boxes are you going to produce? Are you going to just produce a one and done sort of situation, or are you going to make, like, you know, a Kickstarter or like an Indiegogo or something like that to get multiple boxes produced? I mean, I'm curious. I'm thinking about like what I'm going to do when I eventually go down the line of creating my box art and stuff. You're going to do at least one. That's good. In my experience, making boxes, making one means you're probably going to make 3 or 4. Because you need to learn some lessons as you go about like what you want it to look like. So once you've physically got it, you're like, I should make this a little different. So you might find you're making more than one. If you're aiming for one, you probably make more. I can't believe you did your whole first playthrough in one stream. It's a lot of game to get through. It is a lot of game to get through. You're right. You're right. It is a lot to get through. I definitely wasn't planning to sit down and play the entire game, but I had such a good time doing it. Yeah. I wouldn't even say I don't recommend it, because even though it was a 12-hour stream, it was still a hell of a lot of fun. So, the only caveat I will put on that is that I did get to the end of the game, and there was a lot of dialogue that was getting thrown in my face, and my throat was already sore enough that I was like, I don't want to read any more dialogue. And so I was just skipping a lot of dialogue, and I was noticing, like, oh, you're saying the exact same thing as you just said because I found, like, some other evidence or whatever, and I was like, okay, whatever. So I was getting, you know, at the end of the game, I didn't give it the justice that it deserved, I feel, but I want to go back and do some more of it. I don't know if I'll do it online or not. I want to try, there was a lot I missed in the game. So there's definitely replay value that I want to go back for as well. Yeah, it was still fun. Like, don't get me wrong. I was not sad when I got to the end. I was like really happy that I was really enjoying the game. Just, yeah, the voice work was killing me. You're like thing, click, person, click. Yeah, exactly. More talking, exactly. Yeah, it was a lot of dialogue in the end. I was like, I was so happy that I had finished it, but on the other hand, I was like, I can't believe there's this much dialogue at the end of the game. It's like a novel at the end of the game, re-summarizing everything. It was still really good though. Apparently there's like over 160,000 words in the game. For reference, like a decent novel has probably 50,000 words. Sorry, 160,000 words of dialogue throughout the entire game. That's a lot. That's a lot. That's, I guess, what you get when you make a game over the course of several years. Not sure how much interest there will be, but I'd love to get some properly printed if possible. That'll be really cool. Yeah, that would be really cool. Yeah, I've been wanting to play the game for a long time, and Julia had sent me some beta builds a little while back, and I was like, I kind of had to say, look, I really want to help you out and do playtesting, but I also want to have my first impressions on stream, and like I can't have both, so I'm gonna have to, like, you know, not help you. And I felt bad, but I really wanted to help, but I just was like, I really want to get the first impressions on stream, so I can't spoil the game. So yeah. You played it 7 or 8 times and still find new things every time. It's so cool, right? Are you having a treehouse in this tree? Yes, that's what we're working on, Max. Yeah, that's a treehouse right there. We got basically in the foreground. We've got the shed from. Let me open up the scene. Oh, by the way, everybody hanging out with me, if you haven't gone and checked out Robot Space's channel yet, please do go and do that. Thanks for shouting out Robot Space earlier. I appreciate that, Ref. Sorry, I just was interested in the conversation and totally forgot to say the nice things. But yeah, everybody go follow Robot Spacer, please. Yeah, in the backyard here. It was wild to see you rock the Crimson Diamond on stream, Mike. Super awesome and proud of you. Thank you, DC. It was really fun to do it. Difficult decision, but I am sure sharing it on stream is a big help to her too. Yeah, hopefully. I know a lot of people like were in the chat like, oh, I'm going to get this game. I've wishlisted it. I've bought it. So I saw a few people like engaging with it. So that's really, really good. Yes, this shed over here on the right, that's the shed that's in the foreground here. And the fence is, you actually have to climb over the fence. There's going to be a junkyard in the background, which I have to draw the junkyard somehow. And then we got this tree in the foreground with the tree house. So I've just got to figure out how to break up the background and the foreground a little bit, because they're all brown, basically. Maybe I can make the fence tin, like a corrugated iron fence or something like that. Like a corrugated tin fence might work. But yeah, that's right, Max Devlin. I'm having a good time with the art actually on this. I've been having some successes, which is nice. I finally feel like I've landed on like some of the rooms. There was one room in particular I worked on for so long. I did like probably 5 variations of this layout to get it done. I finally nailed it. Like, this hit has all the elements it needs, and it looks okay. And I was so happy. What's the timeline on your work if you have one at this point? Yeah, Robot Space is doing some great stuff too, everybody. You definitely go drop a follow over there. Let him cook, as the kids say. That's right, Adrian. We gotta cook. We're cooking. This scene, like, I'll open it up. I'll show you like some of the variations I went through. I don't really need to keep this open for now. I'll probably open it up again for reference later on, but lounge. There were so many variations in this. So there's like one of the sketch backgrounds. I don't even know where that is. Oh, it's there. Okay, it's just part of that background. Yeah, so we got this original sketch background. What else was there? There's more. There's another one. Actually, that might be two different. Oh no, it's roughly. Maybe that's two. I can't tell. Different layouts there anyway. Then I actually did all this work, like roughly sketching it in to see what it might look like with that layout. I don't know what this represents. More layout changes I was thinking about doing. Then there's another layout that I was like looking at. Oh, this is actually an overlay on that layout to add some details. Then I was like, no, that's not good enough. Then I tried this layout. And I think I worked on that a little bit too. Trying to make that work. And then, yeah, landed on this one in the end, so. Was that like 3 or 4 different layouts to get to here? I've still got more stuff to do. Oh yeah, this is me working on the different layouts, trying to work out where I want the walls to sit. I was like breaking down the screen into thirds, trying to think about that sort of rule of thirds and stuff like that. And here's like the final, like, I'm going to do some touches, like to add some more elements, make it less, you know, a little bit more clutter and stuff. But yeah, it was a long time to get to this point. A lot of effort went into this particular scene. I can't have that happen every single time, otherwise I'll be working on the game for too long. I need this game done, like, way sooner. Hoping to finish up the cover painting over the next few weeks, and should be about ready to release the game at that point. That's awesome news. Notoriously bad at underestimating how long anything takes. Join the crew. I think, according to my original schedule for this series, I was supposed to be finished this game by now and working on preparing a Kickstarter this month. So, yeah. The title for this, I'm going to call it a working title, although it's probably what I'll call it, is the Day of the Redacted for this one. The reason being that this character is supposed to be, he's a bit of like a conspiracy theorist, you know, aliens and that kind of stuff. So I was kind of going with that. Like I haven't written any of the dialogue yet, but I kind of want him to be like, you know, secretive and, you know, that kind of stuff. So I don't know, maybe I'll change the name, but we'll see. The idea is that this one is actually the one that leads more into the final game than any of the others did. The final game, I probably shouldn't say it that way, but the bigger product, the full-length game, that this will lead toward that, basically. Thank you for the compliments too on the art. Have you thought about having a slide or swing in the background, or no room for that? We could definitely probably put like a tire swing or something hanging down underneath the treehouse. I haven't thought about it yet. I'm still like kind of trying to work out the layout. But yeah, I could imagine adding an element on the tree here with, like, you know, a tire swing hanging down here. Something like that. I don't know. Yeah, that'd totally work. You know, we could have something hanging down there. The thing is, whatever we put in there, the player's probably going to, like, want to interact with, so we have to, like, you know, that means more dialogue or more puzzles or more something. So I got to be careful of scope creep. Already, yeah, the design of this has been pretty broad. It's still not done, the design. I've still got some gaps in it. Here's the... I loosely would term that this is the design document for the game here. It's a 3-act structure that I'm going with. So the first act is like just waking up and like realizing you're locked in your room and you have to break out of your room. The second act is basically there's a couple of parts to the second act. It's convincing your aunt that you've finished your chores and leaving the house. And then once you're out of the house, you've got to try and convince your sibling to allow you to sneak away without dobbing on you. And there's a few things you have to do for them. Once you've done that, you can sneak away, but then you have to figure out how to bypass the guard dogs in the junkyard. So there's a little stealth section for that. And after that, you have to convince a sleeping guard to divulge secrets to you so that you can escape the junkyard. So there's a fair bit going on. I've left a lot of room here because I wanted to expand the middle act to be much bigger than the other two. And there's also some expansion I haven't finished doing in the third act. But the first act I'm pretty happy with. I wanted to keep that fairly short so the player feels like they're making some decent progress when they start the game. So yeah, it's slowly working my way through all this stuff. It's I don't know if it's just me or if the actual design is more ambitious or convoluted than the first two. But I am trying to think more about the structure of it, the storyline, dialogue, and I am trying to like bring use this game as a way to like push the player in the direction of like, this is where I want the main story to go. So I want the player to be finding some interesting details and like, you know, I want to drop some hints towards like what I hope the plot for the not the final, but the big game will be. And yeah, the last two games, the end of it has been the same, basically, like the same scenes, like looking at the mansion over the horizon. I'm going to redraw all of that for this game, and I'm going to introduce another thing in the background, which is actually the thing that I want them to go to. I didn't really ever want them to go to a mansion. I just thought it would be funny to make a reference to Maniac Mansion or Day of the Tentacle as like an homage at the end of the game when I did Day of the Sandwich. And then I figured if I want all the characters to come together, I'll just have them all meet on the same hill and they'll all look at that mansion. But then in the third game, I'd have something else come up in the background. That's the actual thing that they want to go to. So that's, yeah, I'm going to redraw all the backgrounds for this one. For that scene, which is good because they are pretty rough. I sketched those out really quickly on like the last day of development of Day of the Sandwich, which was like a 2-week project. And yeah, it's not, they're not the best artwork. Especially when I went back and looked at how Day of the Tentacle artwork looks with the silhouettes and stuff in the intro of that game. Yeah, like the sky is really much more beautiful, and like the use of color is a lot better as well. Like there's a there's a lot that I could have learned if I just actually bothered to like open up one of these images and look at them. But this is the kind of image I had in mind when I sketched that out. I just was all out of my head though, just from memory, not from looking at references. I think if I'd looked at references, I might have gotten maybe a little bit too close to this, which is not what I wanted to do. I wanted to stand on its own a bit. But still, now that I've looked at these and I've looked at some... actually, there's the final... You know, the nice sunset shot at the end of Day of the Tentacle? I think it's in this set somewhere. Yeah, this one. I actually really want to use this as inspiration for the end of my game. So, like, taking these colors... This color palette... or something like it. I'll probably do my own version of this color palette, but the stars in the sky, the sun off on the horizon, and then, you know, the layers of mountains and stuff. I like the look of this. I think this looks great. So, yeah. Expected to have a prototype working in 1 to 2 weeks. It's a good club to be in. Yes, Adrian. Yep. Maybe at the beginning of the big game when they all meet up and they're ready to go, they say something stupid like, why are we all just looking at this weird house? I don't know. Anyway, let's get going. Maybe we could do that at the end of this game. And then, so you'll see, we'll get the same shot, but I'll redraw it as the other two games. Then we get that dialogue, and then it continues to pan or like crane up, and we see the actual thing on the horizon then. Like that would be more funny than what I was thinking. What I was thinking is just doing it and like subverting player expectations. But actually, yeah, if we have a pause and we have the dialogue delivery and then we see the thing on the horizon and then they have like their dialogue of like, okay, let's go on our adventure over there, that would be pretty funny. That's good. I like that. This is the workshopping that we get to do on this stuff here on the stream is invaluable. I've gotten a lot of good ideas from talking things through with people, so on the stream. It's awesome. Thank you. I appreciate that. But yeah, these colors are fantastic. I'll say that again. I really love the way this screen looks. It's really striking. I definitely want to do something in this vein. All right, back to sketches. it's so discouraging when you're like, oh yeah, this looks so good, and then you're like, oh, I'm still at the sketch phase. I'm still trying to work out the layout of my scene. Yeah, I think another thing that I think is important on this scene is like to have the ground needs to have probably a lot of grass and plants and stuff. Like I probably want some plants in front of the fence and and also, yeah, behind it we need to transition from this greens and browns here. This needs to be steel and rust in the background, which is annoying because it's more brown if I go too hard on the rust. So it'll have to be like, you know, trashed cars stacked up on top of each other and pipes poking out of things and whatever, that kind of thing. It doesn't have to be too detailed, but I need to have those hints there. The other thing is, like, I keep on bouncing between Day of the Tentacle style and Sam and Max Hit the Road style, which in my mind they're very similar, but like when you actually look at them practically, objectively, whatever, they're very different in some ways. They're very similar in some ways, but they're very different in some ways too. And this tree is more of a Sam and Max style tree, but the tree that I have in the backyard, which isn't, I closed it, but the tree that I have in the backyard is very Day of the Tentacle. So I don't know, there's other things for me to think about there too. Again, thank you for the raid. I do appreciate it. And yeah, I'll keep working on this a little bit longer. I was saying to myself earlier, like, I'm not sure how much I'm going to get done today because my brain is like pretty tired from yesterday's stream. But right now I'm feeling pretty good actually. Maybe I'll go something like much redder in the browns here, something like more of a back color. And change the fence color to something a bit murkier. But yeah, let's put some color behind the tree to see how that feels. Just gonna try and roughly do this. I think I'll do the treehouse the same color as the shed in the foreground as well. Trying to be not too rough with the lines. I've left a gap somewhere. There. Tell you what though, hugely motivating seeing Julia's release. It's hugely motivating to me as well to keep pursuing this. The fence be covered in green vines. It could be. Actually, that could be a good way to help with the player climbing the fence too. I can't remember if I had like some like puzzle for climbing the fence in my design. There's puzzles for being allowed to climb the fence. Yeah, I didn't have any like, you know, stacking up crates or something to climb the fence, so it should be fine. We could do something there. Okay. Get distracted by looking at documents. You both make fantastic games worth playing. Refraction, you're very, very kind. I will say, I am actually proud of the last game. Day of the Hamster was actually pretty good. I am actually proud of that one. And it's pretty rare that I would say something like that. So, you know, I'm feeling generous by saying that. But I am actually pretty proud of it. I think it's a good game. And there are things I would definitely go back and change. Like, absolutely things I would go back and change for that game. But I'm pretty proud of the effort that I put into it and stuff, though. I'm definitely not going to keep this foliage, but I'll just color it anyway, just so it's there. We know that I'm saying that I want to have some greenery here, some foliage drawn. I think I'm going to go with the more Sam & Max style on this scene, which is going to be interesting, blending the styles. Maybe I'll go back and change the other one. Yeah, I want this tree to feel like a tree, you know. I might even put some greenery hanging down here, actually. In front of the house a little bit. In front of the window there. Actually, I'll demark the door and the window as well by filling in them with a little bit of a different color as well. You can kind of see some depth. I realize I'm going to have to go over this again. Wasn't perfect, but perfect game never gets released, right? Exactly, yeah. That's the thing I got to keep telling myself to allow myself to get things done. Maybe if you want a puzzle for climbing the fence, it could also have barbed wire at top. Maybe. I mean, it might be. I'll see how the game feels once I've got some of it implemented and see if the game needs an extra puzzle, because that's a really good spot for a puzzle. Is just like, hey, you need to climb the fence. Here's some things that you could use to do that. Like, yeah, that's a good place to do expansion of the puzzle design if I need to. You know what? I'm not actually that unhappy with these colors that are already on the scene. I want to probably change them up a bit, but as far as like the basics go, this is not too bad. I can see this kind of working. I don't know, like, what do you think about the layout here? I'm trying to think in thirds again, but I'm not really sure. I don't really want the full, you know... Let me just put another layer in so I can draw and think. Let's use a nice color for the thirds. So, like, about there... is the thirds, right? And about here is the thirds. And I would say player safe space for walking is probably somewhere in this range, somewhere around here. Like, usually feels pretty safe to walk in those areas. Maybe even a little lower than that, not quite up that high. Maybe a little lower, but that usually feels pretty safe for like character moving in that zone. And so they'll be climbing up the tree here, up here once they've repaired it. And obviously I want them to climb the fence, but they can shrink, you know, up here in this range, sort of like this area, I guess excluding the tree. So like back here, basically, they can be like 75% height, size, whatever. So it'll look like they're walking into the distance a little bit there. And of course, we'll have the player will have to walk off the foreground somewhere, so like down here kind of thing. So all this area and up here, that'll all be normal sized. So thinking about it in terms of like the composition, it's actually not too bad. Like, it doesn't seem too bad, but it does feel a little bit crowded with the treehouse where it is. But that being said, the player's path that they're actually going to traverse, like through this scene, they're going to like walk along this path to go to the fence, basically, and over the fence, which is like the direction they're heading is this way into that open space in the top right, top left there. And obviously they're going to go up the tree and into there for retrieving the object they need from up there once they've solved the puzzles. And that is kind of the way the eye is led a little bit. So maybe this is okay for composition. Maybe I'm okay with that. You think the layout looks fine? You like the layout so far, Max? Oh, okay, awesome. Hopefully the sky and grass, if there's grass, break up the browns bit. Yeah, I think that should happen. And that's what I was saying. I was calling out, maybe I want some plants. So vines over the fence is a really good idea to break up some of the stuff, but maybe not too many vines. So like maybe some vines in like this region. And then over here, we just have some more regular plants and maybe something green poking out behind here or something like that. Some tufts of grass and all that kind of thing, you know. Vines. I don't know how to draw vines off the top of my head. Something like this, though. The idea of vines is there. That's where we're going to climb over the fence when we do. And then, yeah, in the background, we're going to have like those purples, the grey and dark purples and stuff for like the stacks of cars and whatever that's there. I don't know exactly what it is going to be, but, you know, something back there. We'll have, like, hints of cars and pipes poking out of them and, I don't know, industrial-looking equipment, that kind of thing. It's going to be fairly dark, and, like, we have some blues and stuff for highlights, I guess, like... I'm not really sure yet. I want them to not be too detailed as well, but I do want to have the hint there of like, okay, that's the junkyard. So like stacks of like, you know, tires maybe poking over the fence and stuff like that. We can hint at like elements like that back there. So it's, as far as sky goes, you're probably not going to see much sky, honestly. It's probably going to be mostly just the junkyard back there. As far as like a quick sketch of like this layout goes, I think this is not bad. Good place to start from, for sure. Piles of tires work for the junkyard background. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Piles of tires, cars, you know, things like that. There's probably some things I could hint at that I know is going to be over the fence. Like there's going to be like a little shack type building and a few other things that will be over there, but I don't really want to distract too much. But maybe I could like hint at them a bit. This is one thing I would definitely like to go look at art in other games and get some ideas about, like, okay, if you want to hint at something being off in the distance, like what do you do in Sam & Max versus in Day of the Tentacle? Those are things I wouldn't mind looking at. I don't know if Sam & Max has that many images like that. Like, I guess here is an example of that. Like, they've got some of the attractions that you'll see in the background there. They're pretty detailed the way they've rendered them in Sam & Max here. Oh, by the way, Robot Spacer, I don't know if you're interested, but I'll post a link to this anyway. It's a very helpful little list of adventure games background arts. So yeah, I found this actually super helpful for just quickly looking at references, to get ideas and, you know, look at the way things were done in certain games and stuff like that. So Sam & Max is different than this because, like, once again, this is just like much more surrealistic or abstract even. So I wonder how Day of the Tentacle deals with things in the distance that you might be interested in visiting. Like distant points of interest. I don't even know if they even have that in this game. Looks like they don't. Just scrolling through this stuff real quick. Yeah, I guess even here, like, it's just like, oh, you've got to go over the path, and then in the next scene, when you go over the path, that's when you see the outhouse and other things. It's like not here at all. There's no hints at all of things in the distance. So I guess I don't need to work too hard to put stuff in there. I can just do some very... Like, look at those trees back there. They're like 2 colors, weird blobby shapes. That's probably all I need to handle for the car situation. Draw something vaguely car looking and then slap a handful of colors on the background. Yeah. It's funny how many different shapes the house takes. And all the different images of the house at different ranges and stuff like that. I think it still shares mostly the same features, but like they're just like the shape and size is very different sometimes. All right, stop looking at images. Yeah, really helpful resource. Yeah. I was blown away when one of the viewers sent it to me, because I often am looking up references and I'm just searching Google and they're like, oh yeah, look at this. Turns out they were the person who had put it together. Mostly it's just like extractions from Scum VM tools, but really helpful. Yeah, definitely steal that link, Bolt. Yeah, very good link to like be able to browse through some inspiration and ideas and stuff like that for sure. I literally only wanted to come up with the layout for this room. I didn't want to have to like draw the whole detail. I've actually done more than I kind of think I needed to here. I could probably squeeze some things around a little bit, so I might as well fiddle with that while I've got the chance. I'll lose my mouse cursor. I've got too many screens. But yeah. So I just grab these two and group them. I can just manipulate the group. Hello? Can try. That might be a bit nicer. Yeah, that feels a little bit more open. That's good. I like it. Skew wasn't bad either. That's not too bad. Yeah. Kind of works. Somewhere about there, maybe. That feels pretty good, actually. Not too cramped in anymore. I didn't realize I was drawing the house. I didn't realize I was drawing this element here. Hello? Which layer am I? Oh, I guess I'm not working on any layer. There we go. Get rid of that. Yeah, that's gonna feel a lot nicer now, I think. It's a lot more inviting when this element up here is a bit bigger. Go over this. Yeah. And I think everything that you need, all the elements are still here. We're gonna have the sibling is gonna be standing basically where the player character is right now. And they're going to be the problem of this screen, basically the main problem. There'll be other problems, but they'll be the main one. I hear that cartoony piano key jingle as I see the 3 roots shift over. Oh, the tree roots shift over, right? Like I think I know what you mean. Like the dun 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 dun. Yeah, I think I know what you mean. Like the sneaky sort of sound. This is probably going to work. I'm like, actually, I didn't expect to nail this so quickly. I feel like this is pretty good. What I would like to see a little bit more in here is just a bit more of those curves. I think one of the things I find really appealing about the some of the Day of the Tentacle stuff is like, everything is like this bulbous curved sort of thing. So like, I guess what I would say, if I wanted to guide it a little bit, is something like this. Oh, hang on, I don't know what layer I'm painting on. Let me just go and put a new layer in. This is not a bad line, but like at some point you want it to like curve more up and start bringing it in a bit more up toward the top. Typically that sort of feels nice. So like maybe thinking about that in terms of the tree is like, you know, wanting to do that a little bit more with the tree. So like maybe have the lines of the tree more meet that style without losing too much thickness as well. So maybe, yeah, you know, leaning more in that shape just to like help frame the window a little bit, the scene a little bit more. We can maybe achieve that a little bit with some foreground elements here, like something here and maybe something over here. I don't know what that would be, but maybe something like that would help. We don't have to do that on every screen, but you know, it helps. Please tell me Sierra's sibling has a name based on dynamics. If I could work it out, I would. Right now, I've named them Simon, but maybe maybe I can come up with a better name. But yeah, dynamics would be a really good way to do it. 8-0 to Dara, good to see you. Dynamics would be a really good choice. The only thing is, like, Sierra's kind of like the code name for this character. I decided like calling them Sierra is a bit weird. Because to me, in my mind, it felt a little bit more like a feminine name, and I thought, well, if it's a code name, then it's cool. And I'd already kind of decided that I wanted this character to be a boy by the time I started working on it in like more detail. I was like, oh, I think I want this character to be a male. Yeah, I don't know. I'm going to confuse a lot of people with the names of my characters and the looks of my characters. A lot of people call Delphine a guy, which is fine. I don't care. Like, it doesn't bother me at all. I'm happy for them to project whatever they want to on the characters. Names can be gender neutral, like Terry. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. But like, I do want the names to be like realistically something that could be a name. So like the hamster's name is Cryo. I feel like that's okay. And that's named after obviously Cryo, the studio, and Delphine's named after Delphine, and Sierra's named after Sierra. Lucas is named after LucasArts. But yeah, I couldn't think of anything. So I was just like, I'll just write Simon after Simon the Sorcerer for now. But yeah, if anybody has any cool names that I could get away with using for the sibling, I'd love to hear them. Because dynamics would be fantastic. I would love to do dynamics, but it's a little bit of an odd name. I didn't even know if you could get away with calling a cat or a dog dynamics. Maybe you could. Maybe if you called it Dyna, like D-Y-N-A, and just don't, you know. Perfect, yeah, call a kid Perfect after the Perfect 10 that made the Discworld games. That's a good one, Coburn. Could be Graham after King Graham. That's true, could be. Yeah. Yeah, I've gone with Simon so far, and I don't mind Simon. I think Simon kind of works, because then you also have the alliteration of Simon and Sierra, which is not a bad thing. Yeah, I don't know. Some of the other names that I could probably come up with could be just, well, yeah, more protagonists. So like Simon, Graham. I guess I probably wouldn't want to go for like the LucasArts names so much, because they tend, like, I am already doing a bit of a LucasArts looking style, so I wouldn't want to push too hard in that direction. So, you know, I'm not going to have like a Laverne or a Hoagie. Those are far too common. I mean, too unique names. I wonder what else I could do here for visual interest's sake, coming back to this scene. I think maybe having something going on the ground would be a good idea. I don't know what. Maybe like I kind of decided not to do the cobbled path that I was planning to do on the other backyard. So maybe I can have some cobblestones in this area somehow. You know, maybe not this, but yeah, definitely not a grid. But maybe some cobblestones somehow on the ground would be an interesting idea. I really don't know. Maybe just dirt again. Maybe just a dirt path. The dirt paths seem to work okay. What about like a line of brickwork or something like that along here? And then plants in the garden. Like have that actually a distinct garden bed kind of thing. That could work. Doghouse. I've already drawn a doghouse on the other screen. I mean, I haven't finished drawing it, but yeah. When you walk away from this scene, hang on, which ones do I have open at the moment? Yeah, I sort of penciled in the idea of a doghouse over here, in that corner. And this scene that we're working on, you move off to the right, and you'll end up coming in here, kind of thing. So this shed in the foreground is the same shed as you see on the right here. Do you already know what's going to be interactive? For the most part, yeah, because I've done a lot of the design work already, Miamiville. A sand pit's a cool idea. A pool or a fountain, those are also good ideas. Maybe a little fountain would work, actually. That could be a little interesting feature to throw in there. I kind of like the idea of a little fountain. I don't know where it would go. Maybe like right here. Just having like a little fountain. Oh, I could try and do like a little reference to what's the name of that other game I'm thinking of? Everybody knows except for me. Carandia Book 1. Legend of Carandia Book 1 has a fountain in it. That Malcolm steals like some stone from it or something. Yeah, we could put a fountain in here. Not exactly sure how the fountain will look, but I'm just sketching in that idea a little bit. Maybe that's a little too ornate with like the figure on top of it. Maybe a simpler fountain. Maybe a bird bath is more reasonable. Maybe a bird bath. Like the idea of a dog house that's wildly mismatched for the size of the dog. Oh, so like a massive dog house with a tiny dog, or a tiny dog house with a massive dog. We're bearing in mind there are dogs in the junkyard that we have. That's like a big gameplay element, is the dogs in the backyard. Either way, yeah. You could do a joke if the player tries to use the doghouse saying, I'm already in the doghouse with mom. We don't have to get literal. I like it. A pond is another cool idea, like a little koi pond. That could be fun. And when you click on it, it just gives you like a little screensaver of a koi pond, and you can feed the fish. For no reason. Yeah, looking at it in the preview window, sometimes if I'm looking at this screen, I kind of don't have the same. When I look at it on a different screen, it helps sometimes. I think visually, like adding a bird bath or something there, maybe not an ornate sculptural fountain, but like a bird bath would probably be a good idea. maybe a pond could work as well, poking out from the side of the shed. It's just something for the player to path around, and it's sort of like not a bad idea to just throw something in there. Little visual interesting. The fish say morning. The fish are avoiding me. They're playing coy. Oh no, that's actually terrible. I don't hate it. All right, we got a lot of good ideas here. I'm gonna try adding another layer here. I'll just say like a little pond. A pond or something like that right here would be interesting. Something. And we could have like, yeah, we could draw like, you know, this is growing on me. The idea of the pond is really growing on me. Have like, you know, whatever. Have some stones poking up out of it. It could be really fun to just draw, like, it could be really cathartic actually, just drawing a nice little like pond with some nice features in it and stuff. Maybe some like nice lily pads on there, and some like little lily flowers. That could be really, it could be really nice. It could be a really nice feature. I'd have to animate it though, which would be annoying because I haven't had to do animated backgrounds in I haven't had to do anything like that animated in the game so far in AGS. I don't know how to do an animated background in AGS yet. A pond full of dad jokes. Yeah, a few reeds. Yeah, we could do some like some reeds as well. That's a good idea. Well, that color's not going to work for that. Yeah, a little pond would work. Swimming in bad jokes. The fish off to read your future. The most work of the whole game. Yeah, this little pond. I mean, look, it's not bad visually. This feels nice, right? Visually, that feels quite nice. It's good to have some ideas to come back. Like, when we come back and start filling in the details and doing detail work on this scene and, like, actually fleshing it out, I think this is all going to work pretty well. Like, maybe I don't do the pond, or maybe I do the pond. Like, who cares, right? Like, one way or another. Like, that could be interesting. Could be fun to do. Like, having some koi in there would be cool. I like having some cool fish would be awesome. Don't know if like I'll bother doing a close-up of the pond with all the funny jokes, but it's definitely an opportunity for growth. But like I said at the start of the stream, when you weren't, probably half of you weren't here, I I am trying to avoid the scope creep, but at the same time, I'm allowing myself to do things a little bit more correctly and try and achieve the goals that I had set for the first game and the second game that I didn't actually hit. So getting the 256 color palette locked in will be something I'd like to achieve. Yeah, and there's a few other things that I want to do, but that's like one of the main ones is that. So by adding more and more details to the backgrounds, like the more complexity in the backgrounds, the more work I have to put into them as well. So I have to be conscious of that. More scenes means more work. I'm trying to avoid adding more scenes. Like I resisted adding this scene. This scene wasn't in the original design. I was resisting putting this in, but I had to because I couldn't fit everything into the scene that I was working on. So yeah, I just had to do it. And honestly, the game is going to be better for it because this scene already, I can tell looking at this layout, it's more visually interesting than the other backyard is. Like, it's so much better by comparison to the backyard. That's not it. Yeah, this backyard, it's not that interesting, like visually. And when you're looking at it at like, you know, this scale, like, sure, it's okay, it's not that interesting. It'll scroll across and you'll see this, it's like, yeah, that's okay, it's not that interesting though. Hopefully the characters and interactions on this scene will make it more interesting, but having that transition when you go off to the right here and now you're over in this land, like, that's going to be like a breath of fresh air by comparison. It'll be nice to go there, and if you ever go back inside the house, you'll also get that background. So at least, like, it's sandwiched between two quite interesting looking spaces, which is nice to see. I just couldn't figure out how to make that background work. I just couldn't figure out how to make this background work the way I wanted it to, and also have an interesting layout. I ended up cutting this. This was originally going to have all of this stuff on this scene, plus the stuff in the scene we're working on, all in one place, and it was just going to be too much. So I'm glad that I broke it up into two separate scenes. Kind of like working up in complexity. Yeah, yeah. You can put rocks around it to make up more space. Exactly, yeah. Like the idea of the pond, Max Devlin. Yeah, maybe sandpit would be less work. Yeah, I think I'm going to stick with the pond for now. But I can always change it up. Like, it's very low level commitment to do these sketched backgrounds. Like, I could draw another like 2 or 3 of these before I settle on one, but I think I'm going to settle on this one. But yeah, there's like undecided features like the pond. The pond actually becomes a really eye-catching feature in a scene that's covered with all these browns and greens, and then suddenly there's this splash of color and blue and some flowers and lilies and movement. It will definitely capture the eye a lot more. So it's almost like I almost would want to, if I do a pond, I'd probably want to try and integrate it into a puzzle somehow. I don't know how, but maybe I'd want to. Don't know what I would do. I have no idea what I would do, honestly. But it's there. Like how you have some of that fisheye effect. It's very easy to look at. Yeah, that's one thing that I'm trying to borrow a lot more from the way Day of the Tentacle looks. I'm constantly going back and referencing Day of the Tentacle, looking at the curves and shapes they have there. They rarely have a straight line. They never have anything horizontal, like practically. There are some horizontal lines, but like it's pretty rare that you see a scene that's horizontal. Even scenes that you look at and think, oh, that's horizontal, it's really just skewed a little bit, so you still get some of that perspective depth change and stuff like that. Like yeah, and that's something I'm trying to pull from with the stuff I'm working on now. For sure. Stepping stones, yeah, that's another good puzzle idea. See, these are all good ideas, Max. I obviously I've got to implement the game before I add those, but it's good to know that there are easy things we could add, like stepping stones, or like, you know, maybe growing the vine magically somehow. Like, there's all kinds of things we could do to add to the gameplay. I've already got one here, which is like, you need to repair the stairs you need to repair this part of the tree to get up to the treehouse. That's one of the puzzles I have already. But yeah, more traversal stuff here. Like if we for some reason needed stepping stones to get to the middle of the pond to retrieve an item or something like that, that's something we could add for sure. I'm going to save this before I lose it. Don't want to crash a program. This is the second backyard, so I'm going to just say... let's create a new folder for it. Yard 2. For now, I'll just do it that way. BG, and we got it saved. So that's the important thing. I actually really like this layout. I think it's not bad. I think if anything, I might change the angle of the fence just maybe to follow like a bit more this line, sort of like on a bit more of that angle. I think that might be visually slightly more interesting than the current angle it's on. But that's not important. I don't have to do that right now. I'm pretty happy with the sketch I did. I just want to do a sketch today. I just want to get started on this room. And I did a few, like I said before, I was just mocking up a few of the changes I want to add to the other scenes to make them a bit more visually interesting, which we've marked up. And we also marked up the bedroom as well, which might as well open it now since we've got everything else open. Yeah, I think we marked up this with a few more objects and stuff we wanted to introduce. But yeah, I think things are starting to... everything's really starting to come together. I'm really happy with it. Yeah, I don't know. Let's see. Can I... That's better. I think you kind of have to make it part, since it's kind of loud on screen, if you know what I mean. Oh, I lost context of that, what you're saying, Miami. Which scene were you talking about? The one that we're currently sketching? What's loud? The pond? Making it part of a puzzle. Yeah. I think if I do go with the pond in the end, like obviously the dirt path is the easy option, but if we add the pond, it's visually more interesting. But yeah, it definitely would want to be interactable, even if it's not part of a full puzzle. Even if it's just its own little isolated thing that you can interact with in some interesting way, that could be enough to satisfy a player without it being part of the main critical path of the puzzle. That's one thing I haven't done yet with any of the designs I've been working, because the games are so small. I haven't done anything that's not critical path. But if I take critical path concept and just say like, okay, but there's also side questy type things you can do. So we design the full critical path of the big game, and then I start throwing in some like fun things to do, toys, side quests, that kind of stuff, which might, you know, if I decide to have points, which I'm probably not doing points, but if I did, it's the achievement hunting. I guess it's achievement hunting. Like, hey, feeding the fish, now you get an achievement, that kind of stuff. So like, how do you feed the fish? Well, you have to go do some other quest, like solve some other adventure game puzzle to get the fish food, and now you can go feed the fish. That's optional kind of thing, but it's there. So maybe I could throw something like that in, like feeding the fish is an achievement you can get. I did experiment a little bit with that on the last game, where you can use different objects to build the thing that you need to build to finish the game. And of all of the playthroughs I've watched, only one person has used one of the variations, and everybody else used the same variation. Which is like, oh man, I knew that was probably a thing that could happen, but I didn't expect it to happen like so consistently. So yeah. Anyway. Yeah, people instantly think it's somehow important. Exactly. If I draw a pond, I have to make it interactable. There's no two ways about it. It has to. We have to be able to do something with it. And the funny thing is, even if you say to the player, like, even if you have the character say, "Oh, this isn't important. Like, I don't need to do anything with that," the player will still be like, maybe it is important. And they'll start trying to use it for something else. Like, maybe I can wet my cotton yarn in the pond for some reason. You know, there's always something. But yeah, this is good. I'm happy. I can move on with my life now. I don't have to stress about this scene. This was one that I was stressed about because I hadn't sketched it at all, and I only came up with the need for this screen like a few weeks ago. I was like, I can't fit everything into the backyard. I need to split it. And so now that it's split, I've got a sketch. This is good. I'm feeling much more positive about that. I think we need to go back to the, let me just close this. I think we need to go back to the design. This tracking document, actually, not the design. Oh, you can't see that because this is full screen. So yeah, as far as like things that are done, Backyard 2 is like we've started that. The lounge is basically done, like it's as done as it needs to be for now. Junkyard entrance we need to work on. We've got a sketch for that. It's not as detailed a sketch. You know what? I'm gonna make this like this color. It's like, no, not that color. It's too. Let's try that color because it's progressed pretty good. This is a yellow because it's sketched but not really worked out yet. The stealth area is not started. The guardhouse is sketched but not really that far along. The handheld gaming, we haven't started anything with that. Redraw outdoor into game scenes. So yeah, we got to think about those. So looking at this, it's like, okay, I'm starting to feel a bit more confident because we're getting more and more of the stuff that we need done. Like this, that we've gotten progressed on more stuff now, which I was starting to worry. So it's good to see things moving along. Good to see things moving along. I'm a simple man. I come here to ponder and nothing more. You mean ponder? All right. I don't need to look at that right now. I don't need to look at that. Yeah, this is just going to be a short stream today. I wasn't planning on doing a long one. I'm actually 20 minutes longer than I was thinking I would, so that's pretty good. I'm going to take a break. I'm going to be back soon to play some Arena on the main channel. So for now, I think this is it for me. I'm pretty tired. Like I said, I had a late night last night with the Crimson Diamond. It was a lot of fun. I'm going to be playing Arena again tonight, and I actually haven't decided what the next adventure game I'm going to play is. So I got to go back and look at my lists of stuff to play. I'm leaning actually towards one that I said I probably wasn't ever going to play again because it was too racist. I'm actually leaning towards that one, which is called Orion Conspiracy. Orion Conspiracy. It has one character that's kind of racist and I don't like him, but I think I haven't stopped thinking about the game, even though that happened. Like, even though that character exists, I haven't stopped thinking about the game. It's one of those childhood, I played this demo, I saw this like trailer for it when I was a kid, and I really wanted to play it, and then I finally started playing it and I was like, wait, this is bad. But now I'm like, you know what, like maybe we can work past that. I don't know, maybe it's good. I've heard other people say it's great, so maybe I need to work through it. We'll see. That might be what I play. Thank you, Refraction. Thanks, Adrian. Thanks, Max. And thank you, Robot Spacer. Appreciate it. Enjoy watching work on the games. Thank you. Thank you. That's very nice to hear. I really hope that I continue to grow the skill set and confidence, and I can get to Kickstarter for the next game. After this one's done, the plan is to kickstart. So hopefully that works out. I can't afford to take the time off of work to focus on a game that size and timeline wise, it's gonna be, if the Kickstarter doesn't succeed, it's gonna be like a 2 or 3 year project at least, I think, which I don't really want to commit to, so I probably won't do it. I mean, I probably will do it, let's be honest. I probably will. I'm too tenacious to not do that, but yeah, it'd be nice if the Kickstarter is successful, because that would mean I can focus on it, and it, yeah, who knows, maybe that'll kick off a sustainable career as well. If it is successful and the game sells well, then, you know, I can keep going down that path, but we'll see. That's all, it's all very undecided. We shall see. Cybersec Frosty, thank you very much for being here, I appreciate it. I'm gonna close the, have I saved all my work? I have. Good. Where's my mouse cursor gone? I hate losing my mouse cursor, but it happens all the time. I'm just gonna close all my windows here so I can do this. There's always a little bit of an issue with the USB when I remove devices like that, and sometimes it crashes things, but yeah, it's been fine today, which is good. All right. Yeah, I don't know if we can raid anybody. I don't know if anybody's doing game dev right now that I know. It's all retro streamers right now. Is Dr. CDCS live still, or is he gone offline? It's probably a bit late for him. Yeah, he's offline. Damn. I really want to raid Doc today.
Whatever world you're
in. Stop playing ads at me. Weirdos. You hate losing the mouse cursor? Yeah, it's very frustrating. I do it all the time. You think he was wrapping up when you were? Oh, okay. Alright, I totally missed him then. Unfortunate. Let's see, if I search for the Crimson Diamond, I know McCaw's playing, but he doesn't really need a raid, you know. Maybe we can share the love with someone else. Oh, there's a couple of people playing it. Awesome. Copert's online. I know Copert. And Beware the Blobber. I believe I've run it across paths with Beware the Blobber, but I'm not 100% sure about that. I think I have. Let me just have a look at their picture. I've got an ad. Yeah, I believe we've come across each other. Okay. And Copert I know as well. Yeah, let's go drop in on Copert. Yeah, let's do that. Playing the Crimson Diamond because it's an awesome game. And Julia, you know, deserves all the love. If you haven't already gone and wishlisted the game, the Crimson Diamond, please do that. And if you have, then, you know, buy it when you get the chance, when you got the funds. Go buy yourself a copy of that game. And if you have bought it and you've played it, leave a review. A positive one would be nice. And yeah, leave a nice review and let Julia know that you love the game. Thank you very much, everybody. I really do appreciate it. I'll see you again soon. We'll be back with more dev streams, probably on Monday. I may not be on tomorrow because I think I just need a bit of rest. Probably need some rest. But if I am on, I'll see you then. Otherwise, I'll see you Monday night. We'll be doing more of this. I also have been talking to Dr. CDCS about the game that we're going to be working on. We've got some ideas. We haven't really done much depth yet, but we're going to go into some depth sometime soon. You have a good one too, Adrian. Cheers, mate. Bye. See ya, Stockwater. Good to see ya. Thanks again, everyone. You're all awesome. Thanks, Ref. One must fall. Let's go.